Kazarian mafia doom as a result of Putin and Trump's secret agreement. These days, reading the New York Times and other Kazarian mafia corrupted propaganda is like reading the proverb just before the fall of the Soviet Union. No one believes their lies. Yet even they are being forced to report that the Soviet Socialist European Union is in deep trouble. That's because the US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have agreed their common enemy is the Kazarian mafia. They are acting on this in many ways, as we shall see below. We will return to that, but first, let's look at two recent opinion polls that shows the Kazarian mafia has lost control in the US. The first is an Axios poll that shows 92% of Republicans and 70% of Americans overall believe that traditional major news sources report news they know to be fake, false, or purposely misleading. The other is a Gabler poll that asked Americans what they worry about. Global warming did not register at all. The Russian was at least 1% despite a massive, prolonged Kazarian mafia media campaign to promote both these issues as the most important concerns on Earth. This is like it was with Pravda just before the fall of Kazarian mafia-controlled Soviet Union. The Kazarian propaganda media was also hit with a devastating truth bomb thrown by Russian President Vladimir Putin at the press conference that followed his July 16 summit meeting with US President Donald Trump. Putin told the hundreds of journalists and propagandists assembled that business associates of Broder have earned over $1.5 billion in Russia. They never paid any taxes, neither in Russia nor in the US. And yet, the money escaped the country and was transferred to the United States. In that, they sent a huge amount of money, $400 million as a contribution to the campaign of Hillary Clinton. This truth alone blew up the entire Russiagate campaign against Trump that the Kazarians have been hoping will save them. However, they will not be safe because the Kazarians have now fully lost control of the military and intelligence apparatus in the U.S. Pentagon sources say the broader information provided them by Putin will help destroy Hillary and her cable. Also, the latest high-level defector from Kazarian control is former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, say Pentagon sources. Clapper never forgot his military oath and the honors of military tribunals as a retired Air Force 3-star general and threw Obama under the bus, the sources say. Clapper's testimony may send Hillary Clinton, former FBI Director James Comey, former CIA Director John Brennan, and other traitors to the gallows. And indeed, Clapper may have acted in concert with National Secretary General Director Admiral Mike Rogers and the Joint Chiefs of Staff all along, the Pentagon sources say. The fact that the U.S. State Department removed a statement blaming Russia for the drowning of Malaysian Air Flight 17 over the Ukraine 1 day after Trump met Putin may be a sign this is the issue that will bring down former U.S. President Barack Obama. There are other signs as well as this incident could be important. One is the arrest of former Malaysian President Najib Razak over a $4.5 billion corruption scandal. This is a big one, because in this scandal, the trail was led to Rothschild Bank AG in Zurich, Switzerland. This bank in turn is a subsidiary of a French branch of Rothschild family-controlled Paris-listed Rothschild and Corporation. This investigation, together with testimony from Clapper, is likely to implicate the French brand of the Rothschild in the hijacking of Malaysian Air Flight 317. This plane, in reality a second-hand aircraft brought from Malaysia, was hijacked in Malaysia and sent via Tel Aviv to Florida, where it was loaded with nuclear weapons and used by Obama to threaten 58 leaders gathered in Holland for a nuclear security summit. It was then repainted from Flight 370 to Flight 17, filled with corpses, and sent to Ukraine, where it was shot down in a vain attempt to start a nuclear war with Russia. The point here is that testimony by Rajat and Clapper, together with the paper trail from the Malaysian scandal, has led straight to the French branch of Rothschild. The French Rothschild have huge influence in Asia. For example, Zhou Enlai, the first premier of Communist China, as well as former top leader Deng Xiaoping and many others, were all educated in France by French communists. These French communists were Khazarian mafia agents who were most likely financed by French Rothschild, according to a French communist professor who participated in the Chinese Communist Revolution and its aftermath. The daughter of Japanese Finance Minister Taro Aso is also married into the French branch of the Rothschild. They used Aso, among others, to buy support for the secret route in Asia from Chinese and Japanese gangsters, according to a close associate of Aso. This helps confirm that the NSA has long been telling us about Rothschild influence in China and Japan. The French Rothschilds also sent a representative to meet with the Right Dragon Society after the March 11 of 2011 nuclear and the tsunami mass murder attack on Japan, to threaten further such attacks, White Dragon Society sources say. They backed it off after receiving counter-threats such as want to hit La Palma Island in the Atlantic with earthquake weapons and send a 100-meter tsunami to the U.S. East Coast, the sources say. You can confirm this was a huge, inexplicable earthquake swarm at La Palma immediately after the Fukushima attack. In any case, the British branch of the Rothschild family has already surrendered. Following the November death of Jacob Rothschild, Nathan and the new family head has indicated a willingness to cooperate with the WDS. Pentagon sources, for their part, report that after the Queen surrendered to Trump, the ex-wife of Nathan Rothschild was suicided in London, and UK underground bases and portals were destroyed. For those who still do not think this stuff is real, take a look at the seismographs of last week's UK earthquake in the link below. These sorts of seismograph results are only possible with explosives. Furthermore, the UK is not prone to natural earthquakes. Now that the British Rothschilds have surrendered, the French, German, and Swiss branches need to be finished off for humanity to be freed. The fact that French Rothschild slave President Emmanuel Macron's bodyguard was charged by police after beating up protesters is a sign that Macron's thugs are being targeted as a step towards removing Macron and liberating France. German Chancellor Angela Merkel is also clinging to power on behalf of the German branch of the family, but the fact that she is not taking a summer vacation this year for the first time in 10 years shows that she is also under siege. The Swiss branch, for its part, has been politely asked by Asian royal families to hand back the stolen gold they have been using to finance the base in the G7. If no satisfactory answer is forthcoming, special force and possibly nuclear weapons will be deployed, White Dragon Society members promise. The fact that Trump told CBS News that the Rothschild-owned EU was a fraud and also hinted that he would not risk World War III to protect European countries shows that these countries have no real military to back them anymore. So it is just a question of how and when Russia and the US will remove their Rothschild controllers. Meanwhile, back in the US, plenty of battles still lie ahead. George Bush Schroeder's heart doctor was charged last week, prompting Pentagon sources to say this incident may cause the guns of August to fire. The guns of August may be needed to prepare for a follow-up Trump and Putin summit meeting that Pentagon sources say may take place in September. Presumably, the information given by Putin to Trump will help the Pentagon find who else needs to be rounded up in the U.S. Pentagon sources offer the following hint about what to expect. After calling his supporters the super elite, Trump was empowered to take down not just Silicon Valley and Hollywood, but also the Federal Reserve Board and Big Pharma. Also, Pentagon sources say the election in Zimbabwe, due to take place on July 13, will be important in order to get African gold needed to back a new African currency as a part of the coming global currency reset. In a sign that the old rulers know the handwriting is on the wall, Henry Kissinger, who just presided over the Bilderberg meeting in Italy, said Trump may be one of those figures in history who appears from time to time to mark the end of an era and to force it to give up its old pretense. That sounds like a surrender statement.